everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about 2001's The Others, and its brand new 4K Blu-ray that just came out from the Criterion collection. So The Others was directed by Spanish director Alejandro Amenbar. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correct. This was actually his first English language film that he directed. And man, he hit a home run on the first time at bat because this movie is fantastic. It's probably most known for its twist ending, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we get into the spoilers, I just want to talk a little bit of non-spoilers because I'm sure there's people out there who haven't seen this movie, and it's a great spooky season film. It's a ghost story. A mother played by Nicole Kidman and her two kids live in this big, gigantic mansion in Jersey in 1945. Not New Jersey, the country of Jersey. So this is just as the war is ending in Germany with, World War II, one of those big wars. So this war is ending. Nicole Kidman's husband is actually still at war. He left a year and a half before, and she has not heard anything back about if he's lived or died or anything. She has no idea. And she's trying to raise these two kids who are extremely photosensitive, which means that they pretty much cannot go into any light at all. They can only go in rooms that are just basically lit by candlelight. Now me, I'm very bad with the sun as well. I mean, you guys could probably tell from looking at me and seeing how white I am. So me and the sun do not get along well at all, so I can appreciate this, but I'm not that photosensitive. So these two kids can only go room to room being lit by candlelight. So anyone who goes into the rooms that they're in, the previous room's doors have to be locked behind them to ensure that there is no possibility that these kids get touched by light. And now this huge house has to be taken care of by just Nicole Kidman. And one day, luckily, she put an ad in the paper for a bunch of servants to come and help her take care of her kids, just take care of the land. And these three people show up, and it turns out that they used to work there. And they have an appreciation and an understanding of this big, gigantic house. And they're more than willing to help her and taking care of these kids. Now, Nicole Kidman's performance in this movie is just phenomenal. I mean, she plays somebody at the very beginning of this movie. We don't like her that much. She's really just barking orders at these three servants.
The door must be opened without the previous one being closed first. It is vital that you remember this.
I mean, she's doing it from a good point of view in the sense that she just wants to make sure her kids do not get hurt. She's just an overbearing, overly religious mother, and she plays that perfectly in this movie. It's actually produced by Paula Wagner and Tom Cruise, which is funny because I think they get divorced this year, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. But you could see that Paula Wagner, Tom Cruise, they're the people who produced the Mission Impossible franchise for us, and they knocked it out of the park with this one as well. Making sure that the money is secured for a movie like this because, you gotta have beautiful set design, and I mean that really is one of the most iconic things about this movie is the beautiful set design, the way this movie is shot, and that iconic, beautiful score that really just helps to add an extra level to this movie that makes it feel a little bit more than just horror. It's not that much of a straightforward horror film. It's much more of a drama, an elevated horror film. And the set design and the cinematography help to add to that because every time we're inside, everything's pretty much lit by candlelight, so everything feels very warm and comforting. But the outside, the whole movie, there is this layer of fog outside. You can't see anything outside those windows. And whenever you go outside or a character goes outside, now the temperature completely changes from warm inside to cool outside. Everything is just lit with this white haze over it. Everything just completely changed, just showing the juxtaposition between the indoors and the outdoors. I just absolutely love all that filmmaking. Now, the filmmaking is really what stands out. But how is everything else in this movie? Everyone else's performances around Nicole Kidman, and there really are only 6 other people who appear in this movie other than Nicole Kidman. So it's a very contained story. It's a very, we feel like each room we go into is just empty. There's nobody else in there but these people. The whole house just feels empty and scary. And it's really setting in that dread for these people who live in this house. Like, is their lives gonna get any better? And her daughter is played by Alkina Mann, who actually hasn't really acted too much since this movie. And it really is a surprise to me because she is the standout performance other than Nicole Kidman.
Side I would have believed in him, but I wouldn't have told the Romans that.
She's a child actor, so you wouldn't expect too much from her, but she really is just outshining the kid who plays her brother Nicholas in this movie, so she just does a great job. I'm very surprised she didn't stick with acting, because it seems like from all the making of stuff that I saw as well, she had it. She had the juice, and she just, I guess, didn't want to do it. I guess it wasn't in her blood, but she had a really good natural gift for this movie. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the ending of this film, because I really do think that's something that most people remember about this movie, and I want to talk a little bit about why the ending for the film doesn't actually hurt the rewatches for it, but actually makes it more rewatchable in my opinion. So this is your spoiler alert. If you want to find out a little bit more about the 4K Blu-ray review, you can jump ahead to that. So this is your spoiler alert about the ending of the movie. So if you want to get out of here now, now's the time. So at the very end of this movie, it's revealed that Nicole Kidman and the two kids, and as well as the whole staff working for her, are dead. And that this house isn't haunted. They're the ones haunting this house. It's never been done before, and I've never seen it since, where we look at it from the ghost perspective. We always look at it from the people who are being haunted, but for the first time, we're actually seeing it, you know what, maybe these ghosts, they don't know that they're ghosts yet. They don't even know that they're dead. They don't even know how to haunt. They're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on just as much as the people who live in this house. We get to see, like, just like how we do in a lot of other horror movies where the kid is talking to a ghost, but we see that the ghost is talking to this young kid, Victor. You know, he's a little bit scared about it. The family's getting all worried. They have, I guess, this grandmother who can, like, or somebody coming in who can talk to the dead, and she's able to talk to these kids. And now, finally, we get this really great scene where Nicole Kidman just has it all come rushing to her. The truth finally comes out, and she finally accepts what is going on. Because throughout the entire movie, we're hearing her very extreme religious beliefs. Now it's coming to her like, I don't really know. I believed my whole life, like, what would happen if I lived my life a certain way. But I think we're in limbo. I think we're in purgatory. But I don't know as much as you guys, kids. I led you this way, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't even know we were dead. So looking at it from that perspective is fantastic. Now, going back on rewatches, a lot of movies can be ruined by knowing the twist ending, but when you watch this movie again after knowing the ending, I think the movie gets better. You're looking for all of the hints, and there are a lot of hints. The opening line to this movie is a hint if you know what's going on. But you're looking for all of that, and you realize now you're not waiting for the twist ending, so you're there to actually appreciate the beauty of this film. And there are those magical moments where the score kicks in and Nicole Kidman is delivering a speech. Nicole Kidman, we just really do not appreciate her as a great actress. Every movie she's in, including that AMC ad,
Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
she just does a phenomenal job. I just absolutely love her work, and I just don't think we give her enough credit. She really is one of the greatest actresses to ever do it, and she's been doing it for a very long time. She should be up there in the upper echelon of some of our greatest actors, and we just don't bring it up enough. And this movie, she just does a great job at a time where a lot of people probably weren't thinking a lot about Nicole Kidman. I just really think that the twist ending of this movie is just something unique and original, and I just really think it adds to the film. Much like The Sixth Sense, I think the movie gets better once you know the twist ending, and I think that it's something that if you haven't seen the others, and I just spoiled the ending for you, I still think it's worth it. I still think it's worth it to check out. But if you guys are planning on checking this out, maybe you guys want to check it out in this brand new 4K scan from Studio Canal and the Criterion Collection that we are going to talk about right now. But before we do that, if you are a fan of movie reviews, 4K Blu-ray reviews, lists, podcasts, and shorts, and now we have channel memberships, guys. That's brand new, so if you want to become a channel membership, we have a bunch of different tiers. Friends of the channel, which is only $2.99. Producers of the channel, those people only have to pay $6.99, and then we have the directors, the big boys. That's about $24.99, and those people really help to support this channel, to keep this channel going. Hit that join icon on your computer because it doesn't work on the iOS app, and you can just help and support the channel, but there's absolutely no pressure. You guys do not have to do that. Just hit that like and subscribe button. That's the biggest way to help this channel out.
Something which is...
Well, here it is, the 4K Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection of The Others. Now, just like Don't Look Now, this transfer was actually not done by the Criterion Collection. It was done by Studio Canal, so simultaneously, you're going to have the 4K Blu-ray being released in Region B under the Studio Canal label with much of the same stuff, including the same audio track, visuals. Extras are going to be a little bit different because there's stuff that was exclusively recorded for the Criterion Collection that more than likely will not end up on that Studio Canal release, but I cannot confirm that. But I do love that Studio Canal is doing these transfers and that Criterion is buying the rights to them to distribute it here in the US and Region A because it is a 2-disc set. So if you buy this in Region B, you're going to need a Region B player to play the Blu-ray that comes packed in here, which is going to include all of your extras. And one thing that is very unique before we even, actually, you know what, before we go a little bit further, let's talk about the packaging because it is very simple. I actually expected a little bit more, maybe a digibook packaging for this one because The Others was a pretty big box office hit at the time, making over $200 million at the box office, which is a surprise for a haunted house movie. Now, people do love haunted house movies, but like I said, this is a little bit more of an elevated, almost like a drama. So I'm surprised this movie actually made as much as it did at the box office, but it's got a pretty big following. People love that ending. I thought we would have got a little bit of nicer packaging here from the Criterion Collection. Maybe you whipped out the fine china and gave us that digibook, but no, they didn't. So you come inside, It's 2 discs, like I said, a 4K and a Blu-ray, and we have some reading material right here, and just like a lot of the stuff that Criterion does, this kind of falls out into one, like, almost like poster thing, and then the reading material's on the other side. It's a nice little essay, actually, if you want to read it. I recommend it. I read it before I actually did this review, and it's very well written, so I can actually recommend that. And as far as your extras go, like I said, they're all on that Blu-ray disc, and my God, they loaded up 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 on the extras on this one. They gave us so much. Not only did they give us a previous 30-minute making of documentary, but they gave us an hour-long making of, looking back on it with the producers, the director, the writer, which is, the same person who wrote and directed, but either way, you basically taken through the entire process of the making of this movie, the casting of this movie, exactly all the influences that were on this movie. You really get every single thing you could want. You get brand new interviews for this 2023 Criterion Collection. You get deleted scenes, you get TV spots. I mean, everything I could ever want, commentary tracks, everything that I could ever want in the extras. You guys heard me complain about extras and how much I just really want a really good making of documentary. They gave it to us here. They gave us every little thing that you could imagine as far as the extras go. I really cannot complain. They really did such a good job with the extras. And now the audio, you get a brand new Dolby Atmos track, and my God, it does a great job. Now, I just watched Scream 6 on 4K, and comparing the two, very different films, but Scream 6, I felt it was just a better mixed track. Obviously, it's a modern track. This is an Atmos track that we're mixing from previously recorded audio, so it's not going to be as good as that Scream 6 Dolby Atmos track, but it is still hauntingly good. Everything is mixed so well, and I mean, it's a ghost story, so there's scenes in this movie where you hear somebody like in the background like crying a little bit, and it's coming from a different channel, and you kind of hear it like creep in the back of your head, so you know that this was mixed so well. The score, when it kicks in, you can feel it rise. You feel it in the pit of your stomach, so it really is a fantastic Dolby Atmos track. Just don't expect this to be a reference level Dolby Atmos track, but also this film, there's a little bit more to it, a little bit more nuance. It's got a little bit more of an art house feel to it, so you don't expect it to be hitting the highs of like an more modern horror film that's more like action packed, or even like an action film. So don't expect that, but for what we got here, it is a fantastically mixed Atmos track. Now the visuals, that's the thing I wanted to talk about most, because it is rare, but it does happen that a 4K Blu-ray comes out without HDR or Dolby Vision. So we have nothing on here. All you're getting is a resolution bump. And Criterion has done this in the past. Now, this wasn't actually done by the Criterion Collection. This was done by Studio Canal. So I'm not too sure who actually did the scan of In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar-wai's classic. That also came out in the year 2001. That came out last year on 4K Blu-ray, and that did not have HDR or Dolby Vision on it. Same thing with Night of the Living Dead, and I didn't feel like those movies needed the HDR or the Dolby Vision, but I actually do think that Dolby Vision and HDR10 would have actually helped to improve this 4K. Now, the visuals are still really good. It's one of the most beautifully shot films you'll ever see. Like I said, a lot of the stuff is being lit by candlelight in a lot of scenes, and it all looks gorgeous. It was already a good looking film. Now bringing up the resolution, increasing the brightness, all that stuff when you go from the Blu-ray, which is the same scan from Studio Canal, so you're going to have a pretty solid Blu-ray, but you're not going to notice the biggest jump in the world when you go to 4K. I tested this out on 2 4K players, and I mean, yeah, it's hitting the deep blacks, but I really do think that HDR10 and Dolby Vision would have helped take this to the next level. I just wasn't blown away by the visuals. I think that this movie, from all the times I've seen it in the past, it already was a beautiful looking movie, so I was hoping to get something that was kind of, putting a nice new coat of paint on it, and it does, but it's just not the most flashy coat of paint that you've ever seen. So if you put it in, you might not go, okay, this isn't like what I was expecting. But it is still, like I said, it's brighter, the resolution's increased, the colors. That's where I really do think that HDR and Dolby Vision really would have helped. There's a low amount of film grain, but I just feel like there were ways where this would have been a little bit more enhanced, but this was overseen by the director, so maybe he doesn't want his films to look like that, kind of making it look a little bit more modern. Maybe he likes how the film looks as it is, and he didn't want to touch that up too much. So from my perspective, it's not the best looking 4K Blu-ray I've ever seen, but it's definitely an improvement. If you have previous editions, it's definitely worth it to upgrade to this Criterion 4K Blu-ray, or if you live in a region where that Studio Canal 4K Blu-ray is. As long as the extras are the same over there with the Studio Canal release, I could definitely recommend it, because the extras and the audio are just phenomenal, and you're going to want to check those out. And even if the visual upgrade isn't the biggest upgrade you've ever seen, it's still the best looking this movie has ever been, and it's a film I can highly recommend. So how would I rate this Criterion 4K Blu-ray on a score of 1 to 10? I would still give it a pretty damn solid 9 out of 10. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this 4K 4K Blu-ray review, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and now we have channel memberships. So if you guys want to become a member of this channel, all you got to do is hit that join button on your computer or Android device. It doesn't seem to work on the iOS devices, so unfortunately you'll have to go to a computer if you want to. We have 3 different tiers: friends of the channel, the producers, the directors. So whatever you guys want to do, check out our different tiers and our different options. Maybe pick one that's feasible to you, and it really does help support the channel, guys. It helps us to keep making these 4K Blu-ray reviews for you guys every single week. You know, our 2 podcasts, and there's going to be some exclusive stuff for our channel members. But if you can't afford that, don't you guys worry. I understand completely. No pressure at all. Just make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, then just get out in those streets and tell your friends about us. And we will be seeing you around.